Welcome, everyone, to the Credible Nerds podcast. My name is Justin, and today we will be talking about Mandalorian Chapter 11, the Heiress. We'll be getting into who is the Heiress. Does Mando find the Jedi that he's looking for? How does Baby Yoda survive in the cramped cockpit with all those baby fish eggs? Does he make it through? Do the eggs survive? We'll talk all about that and more on this episode of The Mandalorian Chapter 11, The Heiress. I'm joined today by my fellow nerds and fellow Mandalorians. We got Blake here with us.
Hey, everybody.
And we have Nathan.
Hey, how's it going?
And so last episode, we left our heroes. They were able to escape the ice spiders and get into space with the help of some fellow Republic Rangers or Republic Space Rangers, I guess, Buzz Lightyear wannabes. And so they were able to get off that planet, but their ship was heavily damaged, limping through space, and that's where we pick up. One of the first scenes we get is the Razor Crest limping through space, stuff falling out the back. The hatch won't even close, and they're about to land on this water planet full of Quarrens and I can't remember the other guys, the Akbar characters.
Calamari.
Mon Calamari. Yeah.
I always think of the food.
Yeah.
I know.
The fried calamari.
Fried calamari, yeah.
So, and this was a pretty humorous sequence, this opening moment where they're trying to land. The ship's, a lot of friction, so there's a lot of flames. The ship is about to fall apart.
Yeah.
And he's falling he doesn't have much fuel left, so he's just falling and falling and falling, and the control tower's like, hey, you got to slow down. And the last second he's able to pull it out, and he hovers above the landing platform for a couple seconds, getting his bearings to land, and then it just falls.
Yeah, right into the water.
Yep.
Engine burst or
So
something,
close.
and he just slides into the water.
Yeah,
That's pretty funny. But yeah, so he's able to transport Fish Lady and her eggs back safely to this planet to meet up with her husband. Very emotional, touching moment.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if I'd call it safely, but but she arrives alive.
Yeah.
A couple of eggs left, yeah.
Yeah.
That tank looked kind of bare when they walked off. I was like, didn't they, when there are like a lot more of those little eggs in there floating around?
Yeah.
When she walks off, looks like there's like 3.
Well, Baby Yoda ate like at least 5 that we saw.
Right.
So she was lucky to make out with what she did.
Yeah.
But so basically the last episode was a setup for this moment from what I can gather. I don't know. Was it a good transition from episode 1 on Tatooine with the Krayt Dragon and the Mando or Boba Fett armor and all that stuff, that whole storyline to get to where we are? Do you feel like that whole last episode was needed? Like, what do you guys think about that part of, since we're, picking it right where we left off to there?
Well, you need 6 episodes, you need a season, and so it was fun. It was a good little pit stop, but probably wasn't really necessary to the story. I guess he needed a babysitter for Baby Yoda, right?
That's true.
Yeah. It was good. Like we said in the last episode, we got to hit that quota. So I think it was fine.
Okay.
When I was done watching it, I was just like, I got to wait another week for the story to move along. And that was fine. But yeah,
that was kind of frustrating remembering back. Nowadays, it's, just binge it, just go on to the next episode, no big deal.
Yeah.
But if you had to wait a week, come on.
Yeah. I did have an issue with the whole landing sequence as far as come on, there's just no way that ship would survive that. But, someone could easily just be like, well, it's a different planet. The atmosphere is different. Maybe it's not as hot, less gravity. You just, you can always rationalize your way out of it. So whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I love that, the whole hovering above the landing pan and just dives right into the water after it. And of course, kind of the Easter egg of the AT-AT with the crane on it. That was pretty cool, pulling it out of the water.
Yeah.
But there's just no way that thing can fly. When it pulls it up out of the water and it's got all that seaweed covering it, you're just like, there's just no way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and when he's like, can you fix it? And he's like, I can. And the guy's like, no.
It's like, I'll put gas in it.
I can make it fly, but I can't fix it.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, and how it ends, we'll talk about at the end, kind of how it ends up.
Yeah,
It gets
yeah.
even worse.
Yeah.
All right.
But so he reunites Fish Lady with Fish Man, and they
A frog lady.
obviously, yeah, my bad,
Yeah.
Frog Lady and Frog Man.
Yeah.
And he does ask, hey, do you know where I can find people of my kind? And he points him to this tavern place. And so that's their next stop. And we do see off in the shadows someone watching them, a mysterious woman.
That's right.
We're like, oh, who's that? Who could that be? Is it a bad guy? Is it a good guy? You know, what's going on?
I mean, looks like a Jedi, right?
Yeah, had some robes on.
Yeah.
So a little intrigue. But he goes to the tavern and he gets some porridge for Baby Yoda with this crazy octopus thing that attacks him while he's trying to eat it.
Yeah. Calamari eat calamari, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. But he finds out he's connected with someone that'll help him out. And they're going to go on this ship, and they're just a couple hours away. And I didn't really think about it till the second time I watched it, but I was like, oh, that is kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we get on this boat, and we're going to go out somewhere and find them.
Yeah.
And it does seem like it happens pretty much every episode. And
Yeah.
trust somebody, gets double crossed right there in the beginning, and then does it all again. But
Yeah.
Yeah. So clearly, I mean, there's been a lot of episodes now where someone wants that Beskar armor, right? It's just like, it must be worth a lot of money.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that as the episode went on, because those guys do try to capture him to steal the armor, but he's rescued. And then the other Mandalorians show up that are in this episode. He does reunite with them, and looking at their armor and his armor, is their armor Beskar as well, or I mean, it doesn't look like it. If it is,
it doesn't look the same really.
It doesn't. Yeah.
So maybe his is the top model, the EXL model, and
Yeah.
they're just the LE.
Yeah.
don't know.
I mean, they seem to both be blaster resistant. I mean, but maybe I'm not thinking or remembering right. But there are a lot of scenes in different episodes where it seems like they're pinned down, and he's the one who charges forward and takes all the blaster fire, unlike the other ones who kind of maybe hold back a little bit. So maybe it is a little bit more.
Just seem thicker, more sturdy.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of
Definitely looks better.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you guys think about that contrast? Theirs is battle worn, so kind of cool, but his is like shiny.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I love his armor. I think it's cool looking. Yeah. But I like all of their armor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and theirs had kind of all the artistic,
Yeah.
additions to it, which that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you paint yours? Would you put some decals on
Get some
it?
Pat
pinstriping
it
Yeah.
out.
put on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if I had to pick from what we've seen on TV versus like coming up with my own, I would definitely pick Mandalorians.
Just the plain, clean look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shiny chrome.
Yeah, that looks pretty sweet.
I'm old school.
It's kind of like Phasma, Captain Phasma.
Yeah.
Pretty shiny.
That's true.
Nice looking. I did in Rebels and soon to be Ahsoka, we have Sabine Wren, that character. And she was often painting her armor. That was one of her skills, I guess. Skill sets was painting. And it came up a couple times throughout the series. But she would often paint her armor to look different, to be like, she was a teenager in that series, so she was, expressing herself.
Oh,
All
okay.
these bright colors and stuff. So I think that's a little much. I mean, good for her character, but I wouldn't want to see that with Mandalorian or these Mandalorians that we meet. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I thought it was good contrast, the old and the new.
Yeah.
So
he's on the ship, and obviously they double cross him. What do you think of that? Well, specifically, Grogu getting thrown in the water.
Yeah, that was pretty abrupt for sure. But
seems like they had it planned out pretty well.
Did you think? Were you like, oh, he's dead? I mean, were you like, he's a goner?
No.
Because you're just like, how could they kill him off? Right?
Yeah.
but you're like, oh, how are they gonna show him surviving this?
I did think that, like, how's he gonna get out of this? Because that fish swallowed him whole in the.
Yeah. And he dives
carriage.
right in, and they got the cage over him,
Mhm.
and you're just like, how is this gonna happen?
Yeah.
I mean, how are they gonna get out of this? This doesn't seem to be going well.
Mhm.
So then, who shows up?
Yeah, that was a good precarious situation. One that he tried several times, different ways to get out of it. So he did need some help, and that's luckily the mysterious stranger at the beginning of the episode shows up with. We don't realize it at the moment, but we realize later it was her that was watching Mando and Baby Yoda. Shows up with 2 other Mandalorians,
Yep.
and they take out those Quarrens and are able to get him out of that pit, as well as Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
So we have 3 Mandalorians in the blue armor, and they take off their helmets. They're sitting there talking, and they take off their helmets, and Mandalorian's like, "What are you guys doing? We don't do that."
Yeah, he's a little shocked, like,
Yeah.
whoa.
And up until this series, Mandalorians took off their helmets in the comics, the books,
Yeah.
the movies, the animated shows. So he was the outlier for us, the audience, and I guess the majority of the universe, the Star Wars universe. But he thought he was not. He thought he was,
Yeah.
doing what he needed to do, supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising because he's gone all over the galaxy, right? And you would think that somebody along the way would have mentioned, and I don't know, maybe Mandalorians are really, really hard to come by, but
Yeah,
you'd
they
think he
must
would
be.
have heard along the way, like, hey, other people take their helmets off,
Yeah.
But that coven he was part of, clearly they were very isolated.
Yeah.
Covert, I should say.
Yeah, the covert.
Not coven. I don't think they're witches or
Yeah,
wizards.
not witches.
That covert he was part of. But of course, they had that dialogue, and they're like, "Oh, you're one of those."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that brings up a lot of like mystery. And this is when Star Wars is at its best, or at least one of the many times it's at its best, is when they drop a hint or reveal something. They're like, "Huh, what's that about?"
Yeah.
Like in Episode 4, the famous, "Oh, you fought in the Clone Wars with my father." And you're like, "Well, what's the Clone Wars?"
Yeah.
So, and we kind of get that kind of thing here, where it's like, "Why are you taking off your helmets?" And we're all like, "Yeah, why are they? Why isn't he?" That's this whole thing that's revealed, but not really explained. But it's just fine because we love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool. And then we do, like you said, we get that hint, that these lines where, first of all, it's Bo Katan, who's the
Huge
leader.
reveal.
Yep. And she was a big player in Star Wars, the Clone Wars, as well as Star Wars Rebels. And so one of the characters to cross over into live action, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So she's there with two of her followers that are new characters. Let's see what their names are real quick. I think it's Koska Reeves is the female, and Axe Wolves is the male. And Koska Reeves, she's she's a wrestler, right?
Oh, in real life.
In real
Is
life.
that right?
Yeah. Let's see, I forget her name. I keep thinking the wrong name, but who is it?
The actress.
Yeah, the
Oh, yeah.
actress.
That makes sense.
It doesn't really say. But anyway, she's pretty well known in the WWE arena. But she had some gravitas to her. I liked her. She came across really well, as well as the other guy. They didn't say much in this
No.
episode.
Yeah.
Very few lines of dialogue. But so the main focus was Bo Katan.
Yeah. That was pretty huge. And I assume with the way that the armor was painted, that was obviously a huge clue before they took
Yeah.
the helmets off.
Right.
You'll have to remind me the name of their clan.
Clan Kryze.
Yeah, Clan Kryze.
And she has like an owl on her helmet.
Is it supposed to represent an owl?
Yeah. So that was a big hint. And, when I saw it, I pretty much knew. But we also knew that she was showing up just with rumors, which was unfortunate. Some leaks, but very well executed. And they talk about how she is not of their faith or their following, right? Their way.
Yeah, she mentions you're a child of the Watch.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you're one of those.
Yeah, which we kind of were like, in the previous episode when we see him as a foundling get rescued, we see that, and by the Mandalorians that rescue him, we see that symbol of the Watch symbol. So so that was pretty significant.
Yeah, so it kind of points us in the direction that he grew up with the Death Watch that was explored in the Clone Wars, led by was it Paz Vizsla? I think so.
Yeah.
And no, that Paz Vizsla is I'm getting my Vizslas mixed up. But anyway, and so he ended up with the Darksaber, and that's where the Darksaber was first introduced. I think we've talked about this in past episodes, but so she is after the Darksaber. That's what her deal is. And as this episode goes on, we find out that she's trying to find out where it is.
Pre-Vizsla, by the way.
Pre-Vizsla, yes. So pre-Vizsla in the Clone Wars. And so anyway, he wants help finding the Jedi. That's his mission. And she says, I'll help you find the Jedi. I know where one is, but you have to help us. And after he flies off. He's not interested in helping them because they're not real Mandalorians. They've left the way. And so
according to him.
Yeah.
She would obviously be like, I'm more Mandalorian than you. You're the zealot offshoot who left Mandalore. Mm-hmm. And so I wonder she obviously doesn't, you would think that her first impression of him would be somewhat skeptical because of that association with the Watch, because they're essentially two completely groups, and there was some backstabbing, going on there. So she seems pretty trusting of him,
right?
Yeah. Surprisingly, when you think about what the story and history is between the two groups and how they interacted with each other, so she kind of accepts that maybe he's in the dark, maybe about his past, and maybe she gets that right off the bat when she's like, you're a child of the Watch, and he's like, what are you talking about? Which is interesting.
So that's a clue to her that he's not directly involved, or at least at the time that the Death Watch came into power over Mandalore, that he wasn't necessarily involved. Because Bo Katan's sister was the Duchess Satine, who was a ruler of Mandalore during the Clone Wars. And the Death Watch essentially kidnapped her and eventually assassinated her.
Right.
So, and also Bo Katan wants revenge on the Death Watch at some point in the series. So there's a lot of history there, like you said. So I think, you would think there'd be more animosity.
Yeah, you think she would just be like, right off the bat, like attacking him.
Rather than trying to enlist his help like that. But I don't know.
So for you guys, you weren't watching the Clone Wars. You're not as well versed in that whole thing. How did that reunion, that meeting go between those two groups? What did you guys take away from that for seeing those concepts introduced for the first time? What about you, Blake?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, I don't have that kind of context as much, but I could tell that there was a little bit of a difference between them, but yeah, it was interesting that she was so quick to want to get his help and things like that, and with him, when he first sees them take their helmet off, I mean, my first thing would be like, maybe want to learn a little bit more about it versus just automatically push away and kind of get away from it, especially since they just saved his life, So I thought, maybe kick back for a minute and talk and,
fellow Mandalorians, let's chat.
Well, and it's kind of like if you wore pants your whole life and you saw somebody wearing shorts or something, it'd be like, well, wait, what about these short pants you're wearing? Like, let's find out more.
Tell me more
so
about
you
those.
Take your helmet off, and I think it was like, it was the, I don't remember which episode it was or which chapter it was. I call it the Three Amigos chapter.
Right. Yeah.
When he kind of has that little romantic flame with
Oh yeah,
The girl.
with that girl, and
where they have to
you
protect the village.
Yeah, you could tell that he wants to take it off, that he wants to have a little bit of a different connection. And so, anyway, kind of an interesting
It's not the
thing
way,
for him
Blake.
to.
It's not the way.
That's what I'm told. But I
Shorts
think you
are
could
not the
make
way.
it the way,
yeah, right.
But
Yeah, and at this point, he's the last. As far as he knows, he's the last survivor of that covert. Maybe the armorer, if she did survive, but
Yeah, he knows she's
doesn't-
around. I think she does mention that some people did escape, but there isn't an established covert at that time that he's aware of, that we know of. He probably definitely feels somewhat alone. But there must have been rumors about him, because she was there waiting for him on the dock with the robe in disguise. So she must there. So
yeah,
there must have been some, I don't know, urban legend about this Mandalorian bounty hunter who's going around, kicking butt and wearing Beskar armor. The fact that the armor itself has probably had started some, rumors that there's this Beskar armor wearing Mandalorian out there causing havoc. So, because how did she end up being on the dock waiting for him to see him get there? So they must have known he was coming.
yeah. It could be like that, or it could be she was out shopping for lunch, getting some fish for lunch, and it was like, hey, who's that Mando guy?
Yeah,
But I think it is something they were looking for him.
yeah.
Whatever that means or how that came about, I don't know.
Because they obviously were following him because they knew he was going to get in trouble. They rescued him, and within a very short time, they're like, "We need your help." I mean, that of course that didn't happen on the ship, right? They
Right.
rescue him from the ship, and he's just like, they take their helmets off, and he's like, "I don't want anything to do with you guys," and he
Yeah.
takes off.
yeah, that happened a little later on the dock when
They
the
rescue him.
captain's brother.
Yeah,
Yeah. You killed my brother, prepare to die.
Yeah,
the Indigo Montoya moment. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so that takes us to the next part where he's ambushed by a bunch of Quarren, and they're like, we're going to kill you because you killed my brother. And so, but then he's rescued by Bo Katan and her crew. And then he admits, or he agrees to sit down and talk with them about what's going on, what they want at least. So I thought going into this part, I'm loving this episode at this point. Like, this is really good. We're seeing Mandalorians from previous series, animated series even. You got Mando in full effect, and they're flying around in their jetpacks, which is like amazing to see in live action. Because it's one thing to see it in animation, and like, yeah, it's cool, but it's a cartoon or whatever, CG. But this is like real, like as much as it can be, real Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
This is what you want to see. So I'm loving it up to this point.
yeah,
They go in and they go into the cantina. They talk, and they lay out the mission. Like, hey, this planet is black market central. Empire's running guns through this port, and we're here to confiscate stuff. We've been pulling jobs, and there's another ship here. We need help because it's on a ship. There's a squadron of stormtroopers there. We need help infiltrating it and taking care of business.
Well, and the reason is because she's planning on taking Mandalore back, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, we're preparing for war. We're going to take Mandalore back. And his were like, that planet's cursed, right?
Everyone who goes there dies.
Yeah.
So, which is a big step from what it was before. So it is good to see, because I think the last time we hear about it in the series stuff, the story is right before A New Hope, like 5 years before A New Hope, that the Empire has we got Siri talking in the background, but the Empire's taking it over, and that was probably 10 years ago from this point. So we're kind of reintroduced to Mandalore.
Yeah.
What's been going on there.
And, a huge little clue, or like for future episodes or seasons, perhaps we're going to see an episode where they go to Mandalore. There's just an inkling of perhaps a future storyline there.
Yeah. Once that was introduced, that whole idea was like, oh yeah, they're gonna go back there somewhere. Why else talk about it? Why else bring in Bo Katan with Katie Sackhoff? Why build this storyline if you're not gonna do something with it?
Yeah.
So I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
So they decide to strike on the attack this ship, get the weapons, and take off, and then they'll part ways. She'll tell him where the Jedi is. They'll part ways. So he finds the babysitter for Baby Yoda, and leaves him with Fish or Frog Lady and Frog Guy and the frog babies.
Which is pretty cool of them,
Yeah.
after
He murdered.
Grogu murdered like most of their population.
They weren't fertilized yet.
Yeah.
They're just
That's
raw
true.
eggs.
Yeah. Well, do you think she knew about that?
I think
She's like, I thought I had 20 in here.
Right? Let's not go there.
No, there's only 10. What's going on?
She lost some in the ice
In the hot
jacuzzi
tub.
bath, the hot tub.
Yeah.
The spiders got them.
So, yeah. So Baby Yoda's being taken care of. And it's interesting that they have to, like, offload Baby Yoda.
Yeah. Right.
And I think, didn't that happen before?
That's like me when my wife and I want to go on a date.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we going to do with the kids? What are we gonna,
Do we have
Can
a
we-
frog lady around?
can we put the dog in the crate for that many hours? Before?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think they've done it before where they kind of left Baby Yoda to be careful with IG-11,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's right.
There's been a few episodes where
Yeah.
you're like, we got to offload the kid for a couple
Yeah,
hours.
it's getting too intense.
Yeah.
So then they gather together and they're like, okay, there's the ship and this is how we're going to do it. It can't leave the atmosphere until it's cleared the shipping lane. So they have a limited amount of time
Yeah.
to infiltrate it and take it over, steal the guns.
So I got a question for you, and the question's now, but the discussion will happen later when we get to the end. But the deal at this time is help us capture the ship, and I'll tell you where a Jedi is.
Right.
Right? That's the deal.
Yep.
No, there's no anything more than that. Right?
Right.
Okay. All right.
There's no footnotes, no page 2s.
Yeah, it's just help us capture, and it's not even capture the ship. It's help us get some weapons.
Yeah.
At least that's the impression.
Yeah, they were just
right?
going to take the weapons, I think.
Yeah,
and
help
then-
us get some weapons, and I'll tell you where a Jedi is. Deal? Deal. All right. Deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so they use their jetpacks to fly up to the ship, and they're met with resistance right off the bat. They land on like this balcony thing, and there's troopers there. So they overcome them, start making their way through the ship. So what do you guys think about this whole sequence up until the end, basically, where they're, fighting off these stormtroopers? There's probably 20 of them overall, 25 maybe.
Yeah, I liked it. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, something you've seen before, and it's always fun, but I do always kind of do the calculations.
Oh, let's
Just
hear them.
think-
Let's hear the calculations.
Well, I mean, just there's a lot of stormtroopers always, and they're really bad at their jobs. And
Did you catch the whole "they can't hit the side of a bantha" joke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, at the beginning.
Yeah.
The
the
old,
earlier one, yeah.
yeah,
So everyone knows that.
yeah,
Which is kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like there's not really a whole lot of question when that, a bunch
Yeah.
of stormtroopers show up, and there's not a whole lot of peril. I guess sometimes I wish that every once in a while somebody good would get taken down,
Yeah.
but
I think this would be a good episode to do that because those two Mandalorians that we don't know, it's the first time we've seen them. I think that would be a good opportunity to, showcase the danger of the situation, or
yeah,
maybe the stormtroopers aren't as bad as everybody thinks. Kind of build them up a little bit.
yeah. Make it a little more harder. Maybe one of them gets hurt.
Yeah, at least get shot and injured.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, but they don't. And stormtrooper armor still doesn't work.
Right.
And they make their way through the ship, and I thought it was a very good sequence, reminiscent of the Death Star infiltration.
Oh yeah,
episode 4, and you know they were gonna make it. You know, you didn't know if they were all gonna survive, but you know it was gonna happen.
yeah,
But still, I was on edge. It was tense. It was great. It was fun to watch.
yeah. What did you think of the airlock scene?
Yeah. So they make their way to a certain point, and they're met with more resistance. And there's an officer there, and he's like, close the doors," and he closes them, and they're on the wrong end. Yeah. They're on the end of the airlock. So then they just pop the hatch, and they go flying out the back.
I love that
that was a good scene.
I love that he calls the bridge, and he's like, we've captured them in the, and,
Under control.
We've got under control. They're locked in, and he's like, "Where's you?" Well, we're in the bay, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
I love that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, earlier on when they're first getting on the ship, when that stormtrooper slides down the dashboard or the windshield, of the ship, that's a cool visual too.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, so there's some humor, but not over the top. So you're not like, is this a joke? Or, and there's a lot of action, a lot of seriousness. So good stuff. They make their way to the bridge, and, before they get there, we get the officer there. I forget his name, but he is talking with someone on the hologram about, hey, the Mandalorians are back. They're
Pirates.
The pirates are back. They're still in our stuff again. And so then we find out that it's Moff Gideon that he's talking to. And Moff Gideon pretty much tells him, well, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Long live the Empire.
Well, it's funny. He's like, we need reinforcements, and kind of along your lines, Blake. It's just like, well, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
you had like 40 stormtroopers on the ship, and they couldn't handle 4 Mandalorians.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at this point, it's just like, just scuttle the ship, just nose it right into the ocean. We're good.
Yeah.
Got to get rid of those guys.
Yeah.
I do know one thing. If I ever hear anybody say, "You know what to do," to a guy standing behind me,
Yeah.
get
Shoot
out
him
of
first.
there.
Yeah, duck.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that the plan is to, we'll just crash the ship.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, kill yourself, destroy the weapons, destroy the ship.
Yeah.
All that
Take
stuff.
them out with you.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, because clearly we're not competent enough to defeat 4 Mandalorians. So let's just destroy the ship and take them with them, and cut our losses.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So it's also this point when the plan changes, like you had brought up earlier, where Bo Katan's like, well, now we're going to take the ship.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a good idea. Like, yeah, why not?
Well, and I think that was always the plan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She wasn't up front with them. She's like, no, we're taking the ship.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I don't know how you get all those weapons.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the next question.
You need a pickup truck or something back
How are we
there
going to
in the
get these off?
Yeah. Because the guy's like, dump the weapons in the ocean and we'll come get you. We'll hunt you down. Which, again, is just like, I'm not that threatened with your we'll hunt you down and get you threat.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, we're taking the ship and put on a pot of tea. What was that reference? We're on our way.
Yeah.
Get comfortable. We're coming for you.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, what is the new deal? Take the ship. We're actually going to take the ship. And he says that's not part of the deal. So what is the deal? What is the new deal?
To hijack the ship and take it.
But
I don't get why that's a problem.
But what is, because he's like, that wasn't part of our original plan.
Right.
And she's like, this is the way. But does she offer more? Like, does she say, well, instead of telling you what I'm gonna now give you more or something or other? She doesn't change the deal on her side, right?
Right.
It's just now I need you to help me take the ship.
Right.
And he's like, that wasn't part of the deal. And she's like, this is the way, which kind of is like, whenever you are a Mandalorian and you want something, you just throw those lines out, and that's and
it seemed like she was kind of taking a little shot at him in his kind of pious nature. Like, well, no, this is really the way.
Yeah.
This is the pirate way.
This is how things really go.
And it kind of on that note, when they first are in the cantina, and she's like, she's like, why would I help you? He's like, it's the creed. It's the Mandalorian creed. We help each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's regardless of, what kind of faction you are in, which he probably didn't realize there was a faction, but all Mandalorians help Mandalorians. We're all, all for one for all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, I just wanted to clarify that. So
Yeah, she changed the terms to benefit her.
Yeah.
He didn't get anything else out of it. But I don't see why why not take the ship?
Yeah,
You killed everyone.
You don't have to unload and reload.
Yeah.
well, he probably is just thinking that's more dangerous, and I got to get back to my kid. So maybe he's just worried, like, what we did, I could handle, but you want to take the whole ship? That brings a lot of heat on us.
Yeah.
And we may not be successful,
Yeah.
and I can't risk my life. I got this kid that was relying on me.
Yeah, that's a good point, because the next scene is they go to the bridge and there's more troopers, and this is when they're pinned down and he's like, and the ship's diving, so it's like, we got to do something now.
Yeah,
So he gets those bombs and he runs kamikaze style,
yeah.
and they're shooting him and it's bouncing off. So it is at that point more dangerous. That is a good point.
That was my assumption.
Yeah. Okay. But again, stormtroopers. Well, actually, they were hitting him this time.
Yeah, he got hit.
Yeah,
He got nailed quite a few times.
yeah, he was down on the ground.
And did they set up, like, didn't they have like a heavier duder, like a
Yeah, they had
repeater
a
blaster
yeah.
weapon too? So they were stuck, and the
Yeah.
ship was going down.
Yeah. So he blows him up.
Yeah,
Just kills him. And then they're able to get into the bridge, and it's just Bosch there, Captain Bosch.
yeah.
They don't really say his last name. It's just called the Captain. But if you're a Bosch fan, it's the same actor.
Oh yeah, total Bosch fan.
Yeah.
Got all his action figures.
So they capture him. They right the ship, barely avoid crashing. So it's pretty tense there. And they talk to him. Bo Katan's like, where is he? Where's the dark saber? And he's like, I'm not going to tell you.
Does she say where is the dark, or does she say where is it, or where is he? And he's like, who? And you're like,
Well, she does say.
Or she says, does he have it?
Where's the
Yeah.
she does mention the dark saber.
Does she say the word dark saber?
Uh-huh.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Or does she just say, does he have it? And he's like, if you're asking, then you already know.
Yeah.
But she does say the dark.
Dark
Okay.
saber. So I think all those three things
Okay.
are said. Yeah. And then he commits suicide. What'd you think of the way he did it?
Reminding me of Mission Impossible.
Yeah, Mission Impossible 3, right? I thought that too.
The old,
Brain fry.
just the old, the cyanide poisoning tooth, thing that you see in spy movies all the time, right?
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. Yeah.
But that's the first time we see that.
In a Star Wars. Yeah.
the electrical current
Yeah.
going through his brain.
Fry his head.
Did they have that electrical thing in Mission Impossible 2 or 3 as well?
She had like a chip in her head, and
Yes.
they
Well, it was, it's like a mini explosive.
Yeah.
And like a small charge, and it blows your brain and your
blew up
eyes.
her eye.
Your eye goes, ring.
You go, that's not good. There's no coming back.
When your eyes go,
There ain't coming
Bad
back from
news.
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
I want to see more of that.
Want to see more electrical people electrocuting suicide electrical pills,
Yeah.
teeth, because he just goes, "Ah," and then his brain catches on fire.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, so she doesn't find out where Gideon is, but so spoiler alert. Later on in the episode, the series, they find out where Gideon is by accessing Imperial database, right?
Yeah.
So why don't they do that here on this ship? Because that's probably one of the reasons why they're trying to crash it, so they can't get that info.
Well, I know in that future episode, they have to go, the whole point of that episode, if I recall, is that they can only get that information from a certain terminal with certain access codes.
So it's high priority or something.
Yeah, and like that's why they have to break into that place, and only someone with certain access codes at a certain terminal can, because he's in hiding, he's constantly moving around. But
Gotcha.
I think that's the storyline of that episode that we'll get into.
Yeah, I think there was a specific reason they had to go to that specific place.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But obviously the whole point of that for her was not just to get the ship, but also
The weapons.
and the weapons, but to confirm what she thought, and that is, where's the Darksaber at? And
Yeah, he has it.
yeah, which for us, I mean, at this point we knew that because of this finale of season 1.
Right.
Yeah,
But they didn't know that.
yeah, but she talks about her needing it, and that whole discussion is this kind of when that discussion starts about, like, in order to be the leader of Mandalore, you have to have that. Yeah,
Yeah, she brings up that she had it in the past and that it's rightfully hers at this point, and he stole it from her.
yeah,
But we don't know how or when or
Yeah, we don't know
whatever
how he got it.
that happened. I'm sure that'll be revealed in the next season 3.
think so.
Yeah, because they're going back to Mandalore. They've kind of shown that just to some degree. So I'm sure that'll be revealed next season. That'll be cool.
All right, so this is kind of why I asked the question that I said, because she says they do their thing, they get the ship, and he's leaving, and she's like, "Are you sure you don't want to come with us? My offer still stands." That's what my question was. What was her offer?
To come with them to help take over Mandalore.
Because I'm like, I didn't think that was like, to me, that's just like that's not an offer. That's like an invitation. Because I thought she was going to be like, "Hey, I've got more for you. I've got like another reward, not just to tell you where the Jedi is."
Yeah, that
But
might be.
my offer still stands that if you come with me, I will give you, if you come and stay with us and help us more, my offer is that I will provide this kind of a thing. So that's the part I wasn't sure I understood. But basically the offer is not really an offer, but an invitation.
Yeah, invitation.
To, hey, stay with us. We could use you to take over Mandalore kind of a thing. Okay.
And I think we see that in season 3.
Okay.
They do reconnect somehow.
I'm sure obviously.
Yeah.
She'll be back. Yeah.
Yeah. So perfect setup for a whole new storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he declines, and I'm tasked to return the child to his kind, the Jedi. And so she tells him to go to the planet Kav. I'm looking it up here. Sorry, I looked it up earlier and forgot. Corvus.
There it is.
Go to the planet Corvus, city of Calodan.
Forest planet of Corvus.
And that he'll find Ahsoka Tano there.
Yeah. Which that, of course, is like a huge, was a huge thing.
Huge gasping moment.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. What about for you, Blake? Were you like, okay, Ahsoka, okay?
Yeah. I mean, there for 3 or so episodes, he's trying to find a Jedi, and so when it's Ahsoka Tano, that's like, okay, this is cool. This is a connection. This is not just some random Jedi. This is someone I know. So that was cool.
Yeah. Because I think, and if anything, at this point, we're all thinking Luke, right? We're all thinking whatever Jedi he connects with, it's gonna be Luke. We didn't. I mean, that was probably my first thought, because I really don't. Who else would there be?
Yeah, there were no other Jedi in that time in the movies.
Yeah. I mean, this is 5 years after Return of the Jedi, right? So Ahsoka Tano is like who is she? Where is she? There's no mention of her except for in the Clone Wars. So at this point, Justin, had the final season of Clone Wars come out? Or were we still waiting to see that? Where we find out what happens to her?
I believe it had come out.
Okay.
If not, it was right about the same time.
And her big battle with Darth Vader, right?
Darth
Maul.
Season 7.
But doesn't she fight Darth Vader? Doesn't Anakin become Darth? Doesn't she fight Darth Vader?
In Rebels.
In Rebels, okay.
Which is 5 years or so before A New Hope.
Oh, okay. So all that happened pre this timeline. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got it straight now.
Yeah. So the big reveal, another big reveal, is Ahsoka Tano, and that's where they're going next.
Cool.
So he heads back, grabs the child, and they get in their ship, and it's all jerry rigged, right?
Yeah.
It's got
Yeah, I
ropes.
don't know where, like, what the fish net
Yeah.
comes into play. Like,
Right.
everything should be good.
You know,
Got
when
some
I think
fishnet
when
in it.
when we see NASA space shuttles fly into space, there's always fishnet and
Yeah.
seaweed,
Holding it together.
holding it
And part
together.
of steel
Like,
coming off the sides of
that's
it.
it provides a lot more strength out there in space when you're. I don't get it. Yeah.
So in my opinion, it's even worse off than what it was
Yeah.
before.
It probably smells like a salty ship or something.
But it does jump to hyperspace, which it couldn't do before.
Which is
Okay.
kind of like going on the freeway with one of those little donut spares. Like, let's go 90,
Yeah.
see what happens.
I love
It's
it.
fixed.
Yeah.
Punch it.
So what'd you think of the jelly spider fish thing that almost kills Grogu?
Yeah.
Was that an accident, or do you think that was planted?
I think it was an accident.
Do you think it was just a fluke?
Just a passenger.
Because it seemed like it was like a whole
Stowaway.
like someone left it there, like to poison or bite or kill, like an assassination attempt by somebody.
Maybe. I didn't get that. I thought it was just
A
one of
fluke.
it was like a rat that was,
Stowed away
Yeah.
in the fish net.
yeah.
It kind of felt like it was, all right, let's do a little bit of, let's give Grogu a little bit of time. We've missed him.
Yeah. Yeah. We need some Grogu
We need
time.
a moment.
But yeah, throughout this whole episode, Grogu's eating or looking for something to eat. That's his role in this episode.
That's true.
Yeah. So, or he's being eaten by
Yeah,
that big monster fish.
that's true.
So, yeah, overall, really liked the episode in the sense there was multiple layers to this episode for me.
Yeah.
There was the reveals of Bo Katan, Ahsoka Tano, talk about Child of the Watch, the differences between Mandalorians. That's a whole new, whole another discussion that we could have at some point.
Yeah,
And hopefully that more of that will be revealed on, who are the children of the Watch? How did that come about? What's going on there? How are they related to Mandalorians? Because initially they defected. The Death Watch defected from Mandalore. They had a coup to overthrow the ruler. So a whole history there. What's going on there? And then so there's that aspect. There's the overall story. Of Mando trying to find the Jedi to return him. That whole storyline was pretty cool. And then the whole sequence of hijacking the ship to get the guns was, I don't know, so multiple layers of the story. It was just,
great
for me, it was one of
episode.
the best episodes. Yeah.
A lot going on, yeah. And
Yeah.
it wasn't that long of an episode.
No.
But man, it was packed.
It's like half an hour, 35 minutes.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. What'd you guys think of? Like, what are your high points, low points? What do you guys think, Blake?
Yeah, so I like the introduction of Bo Katan and the other Mandalorians and just kind of the, like you say, it's kind of a different layer of the people and the way
Yeah.
and so that was interesting to me. I'm anxious because with the Mandalorian, I'm anxious to see a little bit more, see him with his helmet off a little bit more,
Yeah.
metaphorically.
Yeah.
And so
the shorts on.
Yeah, put on some shorts, man. But
The water's
especially out in Tatooine,
Yeah.
put
Come
on
out
some
and
shorts.
Put on some shorts. The water's
But,
great.
No, so that
Cool.
was a lot of fun, and then like you said, I think you said earlier, this one felt like Star Wars. You're on ships, you're fighting, you got the jetpacks going, so all of those were really fun to see.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I loved it. Great episode.
Okay. Any nitpicks?
Yeah, I've already gone. Yeah,
You talked about the ship
I
reentry.
just whatever. There's no way that ship would fly but okay.
Yeah, I didn't really. Usually there's a moment or two you're like, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
But this one was pretty solid for me
yeah,
all the way around. So I liked it.
yeah. I mean, like, yeah, whatever. that landing sequence of like that thing's
Yeah.
a ball of flame, and there's just a way that would survive getting from space to the landing deck. But
Well, it's like the Millennium Falcon. It's a piece of junk.
yeah, it is amazing to me how badly damaged so many, like, you bring up the Millennium Falcon. How many times have we seen that thing skid across, skid across the land or forest or smash through 300 yards of wooded forest, and then they
just take off.
Then they just take off and fly through space at light speed, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in a world where lightsabers exist, I mean, you kind of got to accept those things.
Yeah.
On some level.
Yeah.
So
it is nice that, I mean, I loved the Jedi, this Force and all that, but it is so nice to get into these Star Wars stories where the Jedi aren't as part of the episode, because they're just, I've mentioned it before, sometimes I start thinking how overpowered they really are, especially as they start introducing more and more Force powers, Force skills, and I'm like, it's almost like a whole Thanos and the Infinity Stone. It's almost like you could really snap your fingers and almost do anything at this point with the Force in some way. So I enjoy these Star Wars universe stories where there aren't Jedi in fighting in the Force. To me, even though I do love them, it's nice to see how most of the Star Wars universe lives and survives and succeeds.
Yeah, I agree. So you got this Mandalorian group. Are there any other groups that you're like, because we have the story of the Jedi, we'll get more stories. Are there other groups that you would be interested in seeing in like kind of this story format?
Well, I mean, the Mandalorian certainly piqued my interest about the whole Mandalore group. I mean, like, it's like cool. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, I want to get all the autographs of all these actors and just have a whole Mandalore wall, and but yeah.
You got to watch the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I know.
These are the arcs.
I know.
The Mandalorian arcs.
Yeah,
really
and you
good.
can't. I mean, they'll tell you which episode. If you just want to follow the Mandalorian story arc, which episodes and which seasons to watch.
Yeah,
maybe one day.
So, what about for you, Blake? Any groups like?
Yeah, well, so
The
kind of
Senate?
along the same lines. I really liked Rogue One
Oh yeah.
because the stakes were much higher, and it wasn't like, this all comes out fine in the end. We know that. It was kind of a true, high stakes story of sacrifice, and so I'm excited for that new series. What is it?
Andor.
Andor. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
I'm excited for that because it's kind of building that up and kind of those sacrifices that all this is kind of on top of, and so yeah. I that's interesting to me.
Yeah, I love and prefer movies to have happy endings. I mean, that's why we watch these things, right? As it's a form of escapism, and it's like you watch these things to enjoy a happy story and a happy ending and to feel good, but at the same time you need that contention, you need that tragedy, otherwise there wouldn't be any interest, right? Like Rogue One and the story of Andor, it's a tragedy, and I love that movie too, because of that, for that very reason. It's like it makes it more real, because obviously, and it does bring a gravity to the story that's usually missing, because 99% of the time, it all works out just fine.
Yeah, I think the villains. It's good when the villains match the heroes. As far as high as the heroes get, the villains got to be just as bad, right?
Yeah,
on an equal level.
Yeah,
you got to have the tragedy to offset the celebration.
Yeah, the whole Stormtrooper Keystone Cop thing is kind of like, it gets old. So you appreciate it when they do bring in the Dark Troopers, and you're like, whoa, which we'll talk about.
Yeah. So Andor will talk about the Senate. I mean, politics, right?
Yeah.
How exciting can that be? I think it'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of intrigue, because they're trying to undermine the Empire while still being a part of it. Should be pretty cool.
I'm looking forward to it too, just like Blake said, and the layers, and the people, and as they go through, their and their conscience, and the people in the Empire who may be like, I don't agree with this. I thought I was joining something that completely different. Now I see what the Empire is, because they've really all been misled to a certain degree.
Right.
Some may have gone in knowingly what was really going on, but most of them, I would assume, hadn't a clue.
Yeah.
And when it'll be interesting to see some of those layers and those conflicts as people struggle with, what's, as they come to find out what's really going on.
Yeah.
And how they deal with that emotionally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some great story opportunities for sure.
Yeah.
I was when we were watching Obi-Wan over the summer, there was a part of me was like, I kind of want to see how the Sand People and the Lars, like the farmers, like how they live together. What are the dangers of being a farmer on Tatooine? I don't think that'd be a good like a series.
Yeah.
They have a series of different things, and that's one of it.
Yeah. Kind of but you're looking for like an Outer Rim story.
Yeah.
These one-off, an Outer Rim story where these big, huge plots don't have an immediate effect, but just kind of how these lonely people in the universe live and get along. And,
what's their conflicts and
yeah.
how they get over things. But, so something every day, like a bounty hunter series would be cool. We're kind of getting that with Mandalorian, but it started out that way, but it's kind of evolved, I should say, into something bigger,
Yeah.
into a more bigger galactic conflict, which is cool. But if we could see like a bounty hunter series, that would be awesome.
It would be.
Or, just maybe even Jedi, but not like what we've seen so far. Maybe a bunch of Padawans get lost, or I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
no, I
something-
totally get it.
Yeah, those kind of stories.
This may be kind of, I don't know if anyone's going to get this reference, but so there was a Battlestar Galactica episode, right? Where Starbuck lands on a planet and he crashes on a planet and he's stranded there, and he meets.
You're talking 1970s Battlestar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the original TV series.
Okay.
So he gets stranded on a planet. He meets this family. The dad had died, if I remember right, and it's just a mom and a kid and the son.
A hot mom.
Yeah, of course, right. And they're like they're struggling to survive, and he's kind of like, I kind of like it here, He's kind of.
I think I remember that.
But it turns out there's this like evil sheriff guy, and they call him like One Eye or something like that. And he's like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh, yeah.
And
it's a Cylon.
It's a Cylon.
Yeah.
It's a Cylon who had crashed there
Yeah.
years earlier, and he had kind of become the sheriff. And and he, of course, but the Cylon doesn't. He's got a big dent in his head, so he doesn't remember, and he's kind of like taking over the town.
Yeah.
And so kind of when you brought up what you said, it kind of reminded me of that episode about how it's just this one-off episode that happens away from the bigger story. And that was like one of my most favorite episodes. And and you're like, is he going to stay with the family and become a dad and become a farmer?
Because we all love Starbuck, right?
Yeah,
he was our guy.
Yeah, and he's kind of it's just him. It's just one-on-one, right? And how is he going to defeat this Cylon who's kind of terrorizing the town? And
That's funny.
I mean, do you remember?
Yeah,
do you
I
remember
vaguely remember like the mom and the kid, and he crashed.
Yeah. And eventually, if they find him and they rescue him, but he's just like, do I go back to this battleship and go back to being part of this big cog being a cog in this big galactic machine, or do I just settle down and
just retire and live the good life?
And away from all of that.
Yeah.
So when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, a Star Wars episode. Not obviously not like that, but that concept of like a story that happens way out.
Yeah, and they did that sometimes in the Clone Wars. They do have an episode like that or two.
Yeah.
But
Blake, do you know what I'm talking about?
I do not remember that show.
You don't
I
remember
may have been
Battlestar?
3 years or 4 years younger than you at that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they were reruns when I
Yeah.
watched them.
No, I watched them first run
Did you?
because it was like, oh, new Star Wars,
All right, you got to look it
similar
up.
to Star Wars.
What years? Because it's only the Battlestar original series. There was only like 14
Yeah,
episodes.
a couple of seasons.
I think
It
there was
didn't.
2 seasons.
It didn't last for very long, even though it's got a huge. Just call me Dwight from the
I
Office.
did used to watch it. Though. I remember when I went to Universal Studios
Oh yeah.
back in the day. They had a Battlestar Galactica thing on the tour, and they'd all come out, the Cylons and everything. And
Oh yeah, I remember that.
now it's an earthquake or
Yeah.
something.
And the thing is like I couldn't even watch the new.
The new one was awesome. We're gonna do a podcast series on the new Battlestar Galactica
Oh yeah.
with you on it.
All right. I guess I
I'm
have to
gonna force
watch
you to
them.
watch it.
I mean, we met.
1978.
You and I went to Comic-Con and met Starbuck, the who plays Bo Katan. What's her name again?
Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah, we met her, and this was pre Mandalorian. And and it's funny. I think to myself, there was like no one in line to visit
Yeah.
with. So you and I went up to her and talked to her for like 10 minutes, and she
Yeah.
she couldn't sign anything.
Yeah, I asked her.
Yeah,
Like, how come you don't have any Bo Katan pictures? And she's like, well, Dave Filoni's kind of being a little
yeah,
controlling about it. So if you have one, I'll sign it. But he won't let me take Bo Katan stuff out and sign it
Yeah.
from me. And I was like, well, that's odd. And I guess we know why.
yeah. So that was. You think that was all in the works?
Oh, yeah,
Do you
they'd
think
already-
it already filmed it?
Yeah.
It had already been done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least written,
I mean,
not filmed.
Now I
that
wish-
was only, the last Comic-Con was
Yeah.
last year.
was it at the last one or was it the one
Yeah.
2 years ago? I think it was the one 2 years ago.
Maybe.
Well, you got her autograph, but you got it on a Battlestar Galactica.
I got it at Starbuck, yeah.
You got a Starbuck autograph,
Yeah, so
and I didn't because I was like, I'm kind of attached to. And
Dirk Benedict.
I do have Dirk Benedict's autograph.
Yeah.
Or
Because he came to Comic-Con and no
'cause-
one was at his table either.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so 1978. Yeah. See,
24 episodes.
24. So I was 5,
Yeah.
6 years old. I'm pretty sure I watched them as reruns, though. I don't know if I watched them brand new.
Yeah. Anyway. So, final thoughts of the Heiress. Who's the Heiress? Bo Katan,
Bo Katan.
right? Because she's the legit ruler of Mandalore.
Yeah.
But she's been ousted by the Empire.
Yeah.
So, overall, I give it a A minus.
A minus.
Not perfect, but pretty close.
I wasn't
In my
sure if
book.
you're going to do grades or like numbers scale.
Give it
8 out of 10?
Whatever I feel.
An 8.9.
Yeah, 8.9.
Yeah, I liked it. It was good.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us, guys, on this episode of the Credible Nerds Podcast. Definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. We need those subscribers, and like our this episode. Make a comment if you have anything to add to what we've talked about, or if we've messed up on something, definitely let us know. Correct us, and we'll talk about it. So we appreciate you guys watching and being a part of this journey that we're on with the Mandalorian. So next up will be chapter 12. I think it's just titled The Jedi, if I remember correctly, where we meet Ahsoka Tano, which is interesting because she's not a Jedi technically.
Yeah. And if you have an opinion or a comment or anything particular you want us to talk about,
Yeah.
if you heard something and you're like, hey, what's your opinion on this? Please feel free. In the last episode we talked about Spaceballs and the RV
Winnebago.
ship. Yeah. So I don't have it in front of me, but someone commented on that, and that was great. I love that. So glad we could put that image in your head.
Yeah.
Hopefully we didn't ruin it for you, but yeah, we love comments like that. So
Yeah. So thanks, guys, and we'll catch you next time. And this is The Way.
yeah.